The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation of fad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throbbing my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty.
Welcome to this Earnestly Speaking podcast. I'm your host, Earnest EJ Christian, coming to you live on a gorgeous Wednesday afternoon. Online, of course. Weekly appearance back. It's been a week. Well, that's not technically true. You were on the show last week, Kyle, but not the Swing Report. We're back on Swing Report this week, though. Kyle Nash on Twitter at DSK. Kyle.
The way I think of it is it was a student of the game show where we let G come along so he can explain exactly how wrong he was about stuff. Hashtag GWSTWLIO.
Or basically the norm.
Oh, wow, EJ, I didn't know you could dunk.
I'm frisky today. It's still November, but Thanksgiving's coming up, man. I'm hungry.
So that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't front on that. Hashtag fellow fat man.
Even though I'll be working probably the daytime of it, so whatever. It's okay. I'll get over it. I'll get over it. I'm so mad at myself and I'm picking up a shift to work. Anyway, a lot of stuff to talk about. Normally we do this on Mondays. We go to each game, but we're not in the middle of the week. There's no point in doing that now. We'll go hit on some top storylines. First things first, LeVeon Bell will not play this year. He did not sign his free franchise tag, tender rather, at $4.5 million. I've been saying since last week, actually I said this last Friday in my Periscope show, that at this point, the Steelers playing so well as they have, that right now, LeVeon Bell, in this moment, serves more as a distraction than a benefit to the team by virtue of what they've been doing the last 6 weeks now. And now he's out for the year. I think the Steelers got a break here, in my opinion. What do you think, Kyle?
Well, one could say that Connor terminated his argument. No, but listen, so here's the thing. First of all, we haven't talked much on this topic in this forum, EJ. So what I'll say about that is this. It's really one of those situations where both sides kind of have something that's a bit of a point, right? Like, Le'Veon's trying to get his cash, and the team is like, that's too much cash. No, I don't think either side is wrong, per se. Let me be clear about that. So when you have a situation like that, it's only a matter of time when the game of chicken starts to be played. And we've seen little instances of it in the past. Reggie Bush, when he got drafted, didn't show up to camp immediately, et cetera, et cetera. He had, at the time, talked about, skipping out a year. But in Bell's case, we don't know for whom the bell is tolling victory in this whole situation yet. I don't think we're done writing it, because what's going to determine whether or not Bell was right or not is the next deal he signed. So, what's my opinion on it? I don't know yet. We got to see what he signs before it actually works.
Right.
But I can tell you this. The loophole that's allowing him to get back on the market as a restricted free agent, that's going to be problematic for owners moving forward, depending on how Bell does.
Well, my assessment is just pretty much, people are mad about Bell for missing, so much money. Well, it's his money, his life. That's what he wants. Look, I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. I understand what he's doing, but look, even in a singular year, $14 million is a lot of fucking money to leave on the table like that. I understand he wants security, and the point I made on that thread we're doing on Facebook was this: even if Bell gets 2 years, $27 million, he wins. He got what he wanted. He got more money on the back end. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that's why I'm looking at it more than anything else is the bigger picture. The question is, can a team do that? Well, is the team willing to pay that? And my answer is yes. To be honest with you, there's teams out there that can use a Bell right now.
Well, let's put it this way, right? Like, we're talking about big numbers. That's the only reason. We're talking about big numbers publicly. That's the only reason why anybody reacts negatively to stuff like this, right?
Correct.
I can look at my own professional life, and I started working, I'll even say this up front. There was a place where I started working. No, it wasn't for $14 million, but I was there for, I think it was about a year or two. My intention was to stay there a long time. I wanted to stay there a long time, but another offer came along that upped my salary by 40%. What am I supposed to do? Say no?
Right, exactly.
So whether or not I'm making $40,000 or $40 million, if somebody comes at me with an offer that's 40% better, if I don't at least think about it, that's just irresponsible on my part. If I want security, if I want to look out for my situation, or if it's just my ego about wanting to be the highest paid dude up in whatever industry I'm in, if I don't at least think about it, I become irresponsible at that point. And the only reason why there's beef is because they're talking about numbers that a lot of us, you and me included, probably won't ever make $14 million in our lives, let alone in 1 year of work.
Exactly. And look, I think there are teams like the Colts, the Jets, teams like that, maybe even the Dolphins, maybe go after him. Take a look at Bell. He still has some value. And that's the thing.
First of all, I don't mean to interrupt you, but really quick, the Dolphins need to not get LeVeon Bell. That would be an absolutely horrible move by the Miami Dolphins.
Right, exactly. Okay, moving on. Biggest game part of the year, certainly this week, Rams-Chiefs. Moved to L.A. It was actually scheduled to be on Monday Night Football in Mexico City, but field conditions deemed it otherwise. I'm really glad they moved this game, and it further. Look, I'm not sounding very petty here. It further entrenches my position why I can't stand London games or why I can't stand games outside this country. Keep my games in the States where fans can see their teams. Period. In discussion. So I'm glad they moved this game, especially a marquee game at that. I mean, granted, the league didn't know that at the time when they scheduled the game, but still, this is might be a Super Bowl preview here. So keep it in LA. I'm glad it's back in LA. They made the right choice here, right? Obviously.
So let's be clear. Like the reason why I'm pro this move to not do the game in Mexico City is very simple to those who are at the Azteca there that are responsible for handling that event. You had one job, and you couldn't make the grass green? Come on. And let's be clear. You talk all this trash about the Mexico City game here. EJ, I would remind you that among the top 10 most attended football games ever, you have games in Mexico City that were at the time garbage teams. If I remember correctly, one of them was the Niners and the Cardinals, one quarterback by Josh McCown, one quarterback by Tim Rattay. I may have that wrong. I don't know. The quarterback at the time was that bad. I probably don't remember his name right. That's the punchline. And yet that game garnered 103,000 people. Listen, here's the truth of it, EJ. If you want the NFL to continue to survive with all the other stuff that's engaging, like problems with the rules and things like that, they need to grow the base. And the only way you grow internationally outside of the U.S. is by having games like that. And I really think that's the only way you're going to be able to have a successful expansion is if you start to have that many entities involved that you go international at this point. That's just my opinion.
And fix your fucking fields down. You're gonna have games out there. Just saying.
Hey, listen, man. Like again, you had one job, and they had the opportunity for a butt ton of revenue, and you couldn't even get the field right. Sorry. Hey, maybe they're just not ready to play big boy ball. At the end of the day, the experience at Wembley Stadium is at least a good one.
Right. Moving on. You know how I feel about this topic, and I remind everybody every time I see a London game. I hate it. Period. End discussion. Moving on, though.
Like that, like every other ugly American that's probably watching the game.
I'm very inclusive, Kyle, except for this topic. This is the only topic I am not.
Of course, you're inclusive. You have G. Stelio on your show, anyway.
Oh my God! I mean, but it is called the National Football Week for a reason. Let's let you know. All right. Ooh, moving on.
Well, hey, and it's soon going to be the International Football League if it wants to live on for any length of time. Just saying.
Kyle, stop being right all the time. All right. The NFC East is back to being a bumbling, stumbling, fumbling mess. You have the Giants, number one. Oh, by the way, hey, you won a game. Yay. Over San Francisco. Yay. Sorry, Kyle.
Ooh.
Yay. But then you have the rest of the NFC East.
Why are you sorry? Hey, listen, you gave my dude John Lynch better draft placement. Why the hell are you apologizing?
Exactly. The sarcasm, I didn't want him to win the game either. I wanted him to lose out. But you can't even do that shit right. But, now you know what? If you're gonna win this week, you better win the rest of your games as a year. I'm gonna say if you're gonna win some winning games now, at least win at least 6 more games going forward. At least to make it somewhat of a decent season as opposed to like a fucking wreck. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, the 6-3 Redskins, who people don't trust, and I'm still on the fence on that too. Which by the way you gave me shit about.
So on the fence that they're top 10, but go on.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's like pulling straws. Them and the Bears. I mean, I put the Bears in there. I can go either way. The Redskins are in there because of the NFC East. The NFC East bias. Sorry. You have the Eagles who are 4-5 and don't know who the hell they are. The Cowboys are 4-5. We just rolled off last week, and now they beat the Eagles in the big game last week.
Right.
This division is just fucking Looney Tunes, bro.
This isn't the first. I mean, the East, this used to be protocol for the East, you know, for a number of seasons there. I think they're just coming back to form, if you ask me. I mean, there's no other way to really put that. Other than the past few years where key injuries have really turned it into a runaway. You know, when Dak stepped in as a first-year starter and did his thing for Romo, the Cowboys were just head and shoulders that year. Last year, Philly was just head and shoulders that year because of injuries and regression and things like that. This year, the East is back to what they are who we thought they were, is the short version, sir, even though it was a guy out west that said that. Details.
Yeah. Redskins. Look, the 6-3, but you still got 2 games against Philadelphia. Look, I admitted earlier in the week on my Periscope show that the Eagles are no longer a Super Bowl tier team. They're out. I was still on the fence with the Eagles being a Super Bowl tier team. I still gave it to them because, you know, the champs and give them a chance to turn around. I thought they'd turn around and whatever, and they might still do that going forward, but after losing to Dallas, what he did off a bye week, that's a bad loss. That's a really bad loss, to be honest, on Sunday.
I'll agree.
So but that being said, they still got 2 games against the Redskins coming up, which I think they should at least split them, if not beat the Redskins both times. The Redskins,
right.
You know, I love Alex Smith. He's a good quarterback, but can he trust them to finish the job? I don't know. The Cowboys are always a mess. You know, every time you write them off, they bounce back, and then when you start believing in the Cowboys, they disappoint you. So I still think the Eagles win the NFC East. Still,
I can't rule that out either. And like you said, because they still play each other, it's still in contention. You say the Eagles don't know who they are. I'm still in that place where I really don't think they've hit the alarm clock yet from the dream season that was last year. Yes, it can still matter that much this late into the season. That's just kind of where I'm at. You know, how do you fix that? I don't know. That's why I'm not paid to be an NFL coach, right?
Right.
But you tell me, EJ, the pieces still seem to be there. Yeah, there's some injuries in certain places on defense, but I don't know, man. Is this how far people have fallen back? That Alex Smith taking care of business and looking after the ball as the king of the checkdown was all that was necessary? I mean, hey, listen, clean football wins games. That's what it is. But I don't know, man. If anything, listen, for those who want a redemption story in Adrian Peterson, I guess it's good news. But I don't know that I'm necessarily looking for that either. Do you redeem somebody who beats his kid? I don't know, but I don't know, man. I don't know. The Redskins they're not even a good story. They're just there.
Well, as I said when you started, I said I'm not surprised to go with the Redskins. I said there'd be a team that'll probably hang around for a playoff spot. I mean, clearly they're overvalued to a bit. A lot of that because of the teams under them. Like, I thought Dallas would be better this year. I thought Philly would be better this year, and clearly they're underachieving. But I'm not surprised Washington's playing good football in the sense because I thought they would be one of those like possible wild card teams that if they get some good breaks, they can get a 9-7, maybe 10-6 record, and they're on pace to do that.
Well, here's the hot take I'll take from that game. And the fact that the Skins are having the success that they are, even after all the fallout from RG3 and that whole situation, Jay Gruden, to me right now, has proven to me that he's a better coach than John Gruden was. Because John Gruden never coached through adversity. Jay Gruden, however, well, he's only had adversity at his stops. The Bengals and now this, dude, I'm just saying.
Right. Okay. This is the guy you've been defending all year long, and even me to some degree. But after last week, I don't think I can do it anymore. Todd Bowles. Look, I know you have Sam Darnold.
You're gonna put that on Todd Bowles, really?
Well, let me finish.
Todd Bowles' fault that game?
Let me finish this. Hold on. Let me finish this.
Okay. I'm just asking.
It's not just. Look, I acknowledge you have Sam Darnold, but the other team had Matt Barkley, but he wasn't playing football. What? I don't know. I've heard the word Mike Barkley since he got drafted by the Eagles. That was, 5-6 years ago?
Yeah, if somebody says Barkley and you think it's a TNT pre-basketball
exactly.
show, listen, I get it.
And it's not that they lost, because I actually thought that there was a chance they could lose this game. You can't lose in that fashion, Kyle.
But let me put it this way. Are we going to be talking about firing Mike Zimmer now? Is that a thing?
Mike Zimmer's a playoff coach every year. What are you talking about?
I'm sorry, what?
Mike Zimmer? You mean the Vikings coach?
Yeah, I mean the Vikings coach who got beat down by the Bills the same way, who's supposed to be a Super Bowl caliber team, unlike the Jets, but still we're humiliated by Buffalo the same way. It's a single game, man. Breathe. Not to mention, listen, if you expected great things from the Jets, #you problem. I think I had them at 5-11. I don't remember exactly. I get them confused.
I'm not saying that he should. Look, I think he's done considering the circumstances. You and I are on the same page with Todd Bowles. I'm just saying he won't survive now because of this.
Oh, so what you're saying is it's a PR problem, not a performance problem. Now that I'll sign on with.
Yeah, he's done now. Any chance he had to save his job died on Sunday. That's my assessment.
That's fair.
That's my assessment.
You came out maybe two different things there.
Okay.
That's
the difference a little clearer.
I mean, it's not like you're hosting a show. Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
My bad.
Which, by the way, I may ask you to host one of my shows next week because I'm taking a week off. Oh, did anybody hear that yet? Oh, okay.
What? Say what now?
What? Huh? Okay. I was talking. I got to discuss on the Periscope show on Monday when I recorded Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I was discussing, some of my takeaways, and one of the things I was talking about was the Packers and their Super Bowl window, and I don't think people realize their window is a lot smaller than people think. Like, if you look at the NFC right
now,
forget.
I think it's slammed shut, kid.
Yeah, I think I would still say maybe a year or two because of your quarterback, but they have not put anything around Aaron Rodgers at all. Okay, and then the bigger problem, forget the rest of the conference, your own division. Chicago right now in a vacuum is better. Forget the records. I'm gonna throw the records. I'm just saying. You ask me head to head, who's better, Packers or Bears? Bears are.
Yeah, that's really close. It's closer than it should be. That's the point I'll give you.
Yeah. Who's better, Vikings or Packers? Vikings are. Okay?
Definitely.
And then even Detroit, who already beat you this year once, they could pick away wins from you. I think the Packers' window is probably at the most 2 years, and that's even if they can improve their roster in the same way the Rams did it last couple of years, or the Eagles have done and whatnot. If the Packers don't go all in this coming off season, I think unless Rodgers demands a trade, his Super Bowl window is sealed shut for good.
First of all, I don't see Rodgers demanding a trade. I think he likes being, for all intents and purposes, the king of his relatively, air quotes, secluded space of Green Bay. What do I mean by that? I mean that Green Bay is literally the smallest town to have a franchise. The town literally owns the damn franchise, okay? That's not just a thing. Although that you can, buy novelty shares of stock in the team. I still don't know how that works exactly, but, it's not like Rodgers is going to go to, say, to New York to replace Eli. Not just because of the cap hit either. I mean, it's not going to happen. I don't think Rodgers wants to be in the biggest media market in the NFL. It doesn't suit him. I'm not saying he can't handle the spotlight. I just don't think I don't think he looks to seek it out like that. So I don't think Rodgers is going to demand a trade. However, if you're talking about, from my perspective, it would be reopening the window, by the way, EJ, because currently it's shut on them. That's my opinion. You're being nicer than me. It's happened before. But if they want to reopen the window while Rodgers is still the teller at the proverbial bank, the key to it is to get that front office right. And I don't know. I don't think they go after the GM yet, although there's plenty of reason to do that. But I think you're going to see McCarthy. It'd be interesting if they keep him. If they keep him, I just don't see it going as well as it could if they get somebody in there to get some fresh faces right. And I'm not even talking about offense, EJ. I think the defense needs an overhaul. Clay Matthews may still have beautiful hair, but he's like 137 years old. Okay? They got to do something about that dude.
Right. And because here's the thing, the perception of Rodgers and Brady. The reason why people still say Brady or Rodgers is because Brady is a team guy. He takes less money. Granted, we know Giselle. He has the Giselle money hang over him too, so he has the wiggle room to do that. But the perception of Brady's a team guy. He does what he can for his team, whereas Rodgers is a little more, Rodgers. And I don't know. I don't want to stick down on Aaron Rodgers either because Aaron Rodgers is still a phenomenal talent. You already know how I feel about Aaron Rodgers. Well, but this is the leg. Maybe he doesn't even care about this kind of stuff, but. The legacy thing, and by the way, for the Packers, if you're gonna improve your roster going forward, you don't do that by trading HaHa Clinton Dix for a third-round pick. Sorry.
Amen. Preach that.
That makes no sense. I am still scratching my head with that one.
It still makes you want to laugh that they traded HaHa. Anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. No. And listen, the whole thing between Brady and Rodgers that you bring up, listen, we've seen Brady throw tantrums like a little girl on the sideline. He's doing that out behind closed doors too. The only difference is where he's smarter than Rodgers to do it and give Brady, Brady, I've said many things trying to be a little bit more realistic. I'm not even going to say critical, realistic of Tom Brady. One thing you have never, sir, heard me accuse him of is not being smart. And God, this guy, he is easily the smartest football player in a lot of ways that I've ever seen.
Yep. And
so he's smart enough to not bitch about it in public is basically what I'm getting to.
And it's funny, and it's funny too is that was the Peyton Manning tag. Peyton Manning's smartest one, at the line of scrimmage, all that. But, Brady's up there. I mean, and to be honest with you, what keeps him in his 40s playing as well as he has is the brain power.
Absolutely. Well, hey, listen. So we're going to talk about this with Manning. Can you really name any impact a coach had on Peyton Manning? You can't.
No.
However, you can mention plenty of coach stuff when it comes to New England and Brady.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, to be fair, though, Peyton Manning came to the league as the number 1 draft pick. Tom Brady's,
sure.
So I guess the hill they climb is a little bit different too. So we have to acknowledge that as well. Just going forward. All right.
I don't know what that matters, but okay. All that means is that Peyton Manning had to build more up because he started with a shittier team than Brady did. If anything, in this instance, Brady got an advantage by being drafted lower because he had a better roster around him when he arrived. I'm just saying.
We can argue this later on if you want to. This is definitely a summertime argument discussion on Manning and Brady and who's not so much who's better, but more so who's more valuable to the team. All right, quickly your assessment on the New Orleans Saints. They're now 7-1. I think they're 8-1 actually now. 8-1. Ooh, they beat the shit out of the Cincinnati Bengals last week. Wow. I mean, that's one of those what do you call it? The throwaway the tape game for the Bengals. But
burn the tape,
to walk into that place against a playoff contending team and to win that way, that's a statement.
If it were against, I'd hate to be this guy, and I normally try to give the Bengals a little bit of slack, but if at this point I have to say if it was anybody but the Bengals, I'd be impressed. I'm not. I'm still more impressed by the Rams game.
Really?
I'm still more impressed that they eked by and squeaked in within the skin of their teeth win of the missed extra point by Tucker in the Ravens game. I'm more impressed by those games than I am the Bengals game. You knew the Bengals were going to flop in primetime. That's what they do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but still, that score.
Oh no, right? No, hey, listen. If we were looking at this game in terms of a college polling system, that kind of thing, it would still give them credit. They would still go up in the polls, so to speak, et cetera, et cetera. That's not the question. What I'm telling you is, if you didn't at least kind of expect it happening, you just haven't been paying attention.
Are you saying I'm not paying attention, Kyle?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of basketball on lately. You might have had a good excuse. You have two kids,
I'll be honest with you. I have not been as invested in the season as the past, the NBA season. I'm not going to lie to you.
I don't blame you. The NBA is kind of sucky right now.
I don't know. There's some intriguing storylines going, but I haven't been as locked in. I'll get there. Trust me, I'll get there. There's a lot going on, that's all.
Yeah, it's called Christmas, just like the rest of the nation. Anyway.
Moving on, as you say. Moving on. All right. We'll start doing this every week. You and I used to do this all the time a couple years ago when we started Stone the Game Report podcast. And we'll start doing this now moving forward again, because I miss doing this, especially now in November. Looking at the updated playoff ranking, the playoff seeds, and, if the playoffs start today, here's how it looks. And obviously we'll give out locks. And this is obviously always adjustable week to week, depending on the teams and whatnot. So currently the AFC picture looks like this: 1 through 4 division winners. Chiefs the number 1 seed, of course. The 2 seed right now is the Steelers. Yes, the Steelers. 3 seed is the Patriots.
I still don't understand that.
They only have 2 losses. Pats have 3. It's that simple.
Yeah, I know, because math. But they I mean, honestly,
it's weird.
The Steelers.
Yeah, it's
weird. Do they look like a 2-loss team? They look worse than that. You know what I'm talking about.
I agree with him 100%. But look at it. That's why I'm stunned. Which means that right now, the playoffs start today, the Pats will be playing on Wild Card Weekend. How often do you get to say that? Not very often.
How many years since that's happened? At least 4, right?
Longer.
I said at least.
Longer. No, that's what I'm saying. It's been honestly, I think it's been 8 years. 2010. 2009, 2010.
It's been that long.
Yes, it's been that long. 3 seed is the Patriots. 4 seed is the Texans, who are surging, of course. The 5 seed is the LA Chargers, who technically should be a 2 seed by virtue of the record, but they're here and there. And right now, the 6 seed is currently the Bengals right now. In the hunt, currently, we have the Titans at 5-4, who are playing good football last couple weeks. The Dolphins 5-5. Ravens are 4-5 as well, too. The Colts are 4-5 hanging around as well. Give me your locks in the AFC right now. Who are the locks? Obviously, KC and Pittsburgh, right?
KC and Pittsburgh are locks, though I don't lock Pittsburgh in the number 2 spot by any stretch of the imagination. I'll give you a lock for the Pats, obviously, as well. They're probably going to be number 2 before all this is said and done.
Right.
As entertaining as the eventuality that we talked about of a wild card appearance by the Patriots would be, no, I don't think that's going to happen. You know what, EJ? I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to put the Houston Texans as a lock to stick with my prediction, which was under fire for a minute there, that the Texans would make the playoffs and win the division this year.
By the way, though, the Titans, the Titans only 1 game
that?
behind. That's for the record. Just so you know.
Yeah, they may only be 1 game behind, but they ain't playing 1 game behind football. I think they fall off. I would give a damn what happened to the Patriots at the hands of the Titans the other day.
Preach it. I'm going to get to that in a second.
Because, hey, listen, who's done that before? How about every coach lately that's left the ranks of Bill Belichick's locker room?
Yeah.
Look it up, bitches. Anyway.
So what you're saying, you have 5 locks right now, playoff team right now. Well, Chargers, of course, are locked, right? For the wild card, no matter what?
Yeah, I guess so.
So you're saying there are 5 locks right in the AFC. Yeah. Regardless of positioning, these 5 teams will be in the playoffs no matter what, whether it is the wild card or division, which puts now 1 spot open, which is the number 6 seed.
Which tells me the only way that the Titans are going to get in is if the Bengals let it happen. Yes, sir.
By the way, underrated game no one's talking about this weekend. Colts Titans this weekend, underrated huge game. Nobody's talking about that game.
That's a great point by you.
Because if the Colts win that game, they're 5-5 with a manageable schedule for the most part. Andrew Luck's playing phenomenal this year. The teams in the hunt aren't teams that scare you. I mean, the Dolphins, really? No offense. The Dolphins.
Listen. Let's be clear about the Dolphins. Here's if you want to involve the Dolphins in the later part of the season with betting, okay, you put an over under 8.5 names on the IR. Okay?
Yes.
Are you kidding me? They've had so many players on injured reserve, it is not funny, and that's why they're not going to make the playoffs, EJ Christian.
I will go this far, too. I'm not saying I don't believe in Cincinnati, but the reality is the injuries are piling up now. I think the winner of this game, Tennessee, Indianapolis, you heard it here first on the Earnestly podcast, Week 11 edition of the Starting Game Report. The winner of this game will be the 6th seed in the AFC playoff, 2018 playoffs.
So based on what you just said, sir, you have locked up that Andrew Luck will earn the Comeback Player of the Year award with a playoff berth.
Not just that, he might even get some MVP whispers by the end of the year.
Whoa. You mean even your sorry-ass criteria for making an MVP might get cracked? Well, there you go.
No, well, he made the playoffs, right? under my scenario, under my logic.
You're sorry, ridiculous, no respect for actually what happens on the field scenario. Yeah, that one.
Listen. I told everybody this year, Kyle, you and I discussed this throughout the summer, that this Andrew Luck story was not being talked about enough. We discussed this on the podcast, bro. No.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
And the Colts right now are in a position right now. They win this game with Tennessee. You know, they're 5-5 with a win over Tennessee already, and they can make the AFC. Look, the Bengals should get in with the talent they have, but no AJ Green for a little while. Loads of injuries. The schedule sums up for the Colts now. I think the winner of this Titans Colts game is the 6th seed in the AFC playoff picture.
Carry on.
So there you go. So we have the same locks: Chiefs, Steelers, Chargers, Texans, Bengals, and obviously you know wherever they Bengals. I'm sorry, Patriots.
Well, no. Hey, Bengals.
Sorry, no.
Yeah.
Patriots. I'm sorry, Patriots. Obviously wherever they come in. That's another story another day. Let's go to the NFC side. Right now, currently the number 1 seed is the Rams. They have half game with the New Orleans Saints, 9-1. The 2 seed is the Saints, of course. 3 seed right now currently is the G Steel-led Chicago Bears. The 4 seed is the Washington Redskins. The 5 seed right now currently is Cam Swag and the Panthers. The 6 seed, of course, the Vikings. In the hunt currently right now, the Packers, the Falcons, the Seahawks, the Cowboys and Eagles still in it too. So you got 5 teams right now that can muck things up. And by the way, for the record, I got to tell you right now, I only have 2 locks here. The 2 teams I mentioned earlier, the Saints and the Rams. I think I would have said Carolina had they won last week against Pittsburgh, but that loss kind of sort of puts them back into that still counting votes, you know, too close to call, you know, kind of thing. So I'm going to wait a little bit on Carolina. So my only locks are New Orleans and the Rams just because of that. Because the Panthers will still fall out, and then there you go. Teams are back into the race. So go ahead. Give me your locks.
Well, first of all, should Matt Nagy not be the leading contender for Coach of the Year already?
I mean, right now, we haven't discussed in the podcast. We could probably do that in the next report. But I would say right now, a snap call, that comes to mind right now, the names that come to mind right now of Coach of the Year. Obviously, you look at a guy like, Coach, fucking Sean Payton should be in the conversation right now number 1. What he's doing with the Saints this year.
Yeah.
Anthony Lynn in L.A., maybe? I'm saying.
Oh, Anthony Lynn in L.A.? Okay.
And if my scenario works out, too, with the Colts, Frank Reich. I'm just saying.
Frank Reich with the Colts, okay. Which one of those has a non-Hall of Fame potential caliber quarterback in their roster? I win. Anyways, so...
No, I would put Nagy's number 1. I actually agree with you. I was ranking.
That was the question, homie.
I was just throwing out names to you. That's all I was doing. Throwing out names.
And you did put out good candidates. And they're all in distance second and lower.
Well, you want to hear another wild card candidate right now? If it plays out the way it is right now, currently this week, you mentioned him earlier, Jay Gruden.
Ooh, okay, he can't be number 1 today, but I'll give you this.
Not a rank. This nominees. This nominees I'm talking about.
Yeah, he should get some votes. I'll agree with that. Gosh, yeah I feel kind of dumb. I brought that whole thing up, didn't I?
Right. and I guess you know who will probably get it also too by virtue of what he's done just with the quarterback in 1 year, Andy Reid. He'll probably get some because of overvalued now at this point. Now they've now outkicked the coverage already this year by virtue of what we all expect of the Chiefs.
I think Andy Reid should get votes, but that defense is gonna step him back a little bit.
Playing a little better last couple weeks, though. We'll say that, but yeah.
Oh yeah, there's still a long way to go. Like I just said, Matt Nagy is the number one contender, and really, I have no idea how GWSTWLIO finds any way to talk trash on him, even as a Bears fan. But then again, he doesn't think Montana's the greatest quarterback of all time. What does he know? The punchline is locks in the. I know he thinks Marino is.
Who's my top three, by the way? He's in my top three to the record. So he's not far off.
Marino's great. I'm not arguing that. Listen, so, I think the Rams, I actually think the Rams, I don't think the Rams lock it up this week to be the second team in history to do so by week 11. I think the Chiefs have something for them because they're injured and weak in the one place that Mahomes is strong, and that's slinging the ball down the field like a champ. So I think that's going to be a problem for the Rams. But if I'm wrong, then we're smart for saying that the Rams are locks.
But they're locks overall for the playoffs, yes. Yeah.
Right. I think right. And then the Saints definitely locks as well. I don't see them being a Super Bowl team because what will happen inevitably, they will make too many mistakes on defense in a game to kill them. Granted, it won't be one play like it was last year with the Vikings when the Saints should have arguably made it to the Super Bowl instead of the Eagles, but there's no sense in opening that can. I'm going to go and be brave enough to state a third lock, simply because the division is this bad. I'm going to go ahead and put the Vikings in as a lock.
I almost did as well. I almost did. I feel better about the Vikings than the other three teams currently in the race: the Bears, the Redskins, and the Panthers.
Well, of course you do, because the Redskins are awful at the end of the day. The Vikings at least have a really good coach who was my coach of the year last year, and they just have a better roster. I think the only roster, air quotes, that's better than the Vikings is the Rams, and that's because they're just that much better at the quarterback position. But yeah, so that's my third lock. I want no part of the fraud cons making the playoffs. They lost to the goddamn Browns. Okay, what more do I have to tell you? A, B. I'm still not prepared to rule out the Seahawks. And if the Seahawks make it and you do not make Russell Camington Wilson the MVP, I don't know what to do with. Oh, you know what it means? It means Andrew Luck made the playoffs. That's what. But
love it.
But that's just where I'm at, dude. I'm still not prepared to call the Seahawks dead yet. They just are in the unfortunate position of being stuck in that division, playing against the Rams. And both those games were played close, by the way. As for the rest of the NFC,
I'm going to go ahead and grow balls to do the thing you did. I was going to do, and did not do that. Vikings are a lock. Whether they win the division or whether they fucking win the wild card, they're going to get in no matter what. I was going to go there earlier anyway, and I feel better. And the reason why is that I still feel better about their roster than Carolina's, than Chicago's, than Washington. I think first off, Minnesota will beat Chicago this weekend, and that will help our case with that number one. Okay, so I got three locks there too. Washington I can't do because I think Philly won the division. Okay, Carolina is week to week. Now Carolina is on the fringe. But the problem with Carolina is that week to week, you don't know what team you're going to see. I mean,
and that's a double whammy. They're week to week, and they're in the same division with the Saints. That's just problematic.
The Saints, and if Atlanta gets hot, out of nowhere, which can happen, which happened last year, they're only 2 games behind. That's a problem. So I can't lock them in just yet.
And they lost to the Browns, where they saw your boy Matt Ryan on the sideline throwing a temper tantrum.
Yeah. And again, the Bears.
By the way, how do we get to have a segment about you trying to defend Matt Ryan now? That I've been under fire twice this year on this show about my criticism of Matt Ryan. Are you going to try to defend him, or do we just, kind of gloss over that?
I thought I slaughtered him week 1. remember my tier 1 conversation in week 1, this Lunar Game Report?
Oh no, I'm just being bitter about the fact that you and D Steele were on my case last week. That's all.
No, you make him sound like he's fucking Ryan Tannehill. He's not Ryan Tannehill.
I never said that. Hold on.
It's a perception. I'm saying.
Your perception is just anyway.
While I think Green Bay is meh, they're only a game back. Okay, they're the 7th seed. Okay, and this Vikings Bears game is humongous because the Packers. Look, 6-1 of the Packers, and look, I'm critical of the Packers. We both are. It's still got Aaron Rodgers. That's still worth $10 a year. Okay, don't let that team get hot, and don't be the Bears and start losing. That's why I can't lock in the Bears just yet. If they win against Minnesota though on Sunday Night Football, I might have a conversation with you about that. We'll see. But again, Trubisky, that's the problem. So
you beat me to it. That's the reason why I can't call him a lock. It comes in one form, Trubisky.
And the Giants have a chance, 15th seed.
Shut up. Anyway.
Dude, the only 3 back. Dude, the only like 4 back of the. Yeah, never mind. I was just joking.
Thanks for the draft pick spot there, Chief.
Yeah, appreciate
that.
Yeah. You guys are 16th seed in the NFC now. Good job. Before I let you go.
Thanks for the draft pick.
Before I let you go, and I don't want to get too much into it heavily because I have a podcast set for that. This one topic this week. Have you seen Bohemian Rhapsody yet?
I have not. But listen, just so people know how into I am the concept of going to see this movie, because I will go see it. I might actually save it for next week while I'm away at Thanksgiving in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
But here, folks, when people come up to you, they'll often ask, who do you think is the best frontman of a band of all time? I stop them and I correct them. When you pose this question, you ask it like this. Who was the best frontman of all time, and why is it Freddie Mercury? That's how you pose the question, okay? Let's be clear.
That's exactly my statement right there, bro. I mean, seriously. I mean, if you're going to make a case of other artists, it has to be fragmented to the specific genre, because Freddie Mercury, to me, is the epitome of amazing. That being said, and I'll get into this in detail on the next podcast I do with my buddy who's a diehard Queen fan like I am. These kind of the movie itself, like if you're a casual Queen fan, you'll love it. You know what I mean? But someone who's diehard like me, who knows every little thing about Freddie Mercury's life, you'll pick things out, inaccuracies pretty quickly. Years are off. This didn't happen that year. That happened this year. This and that. And that's the annoyance of being a hardcore fan. You pick that shit out pretty quickly. And that's what I did last night at the movies. Otherwise, the movie was really good.
So, well, and hey, I'll say this about that too, so we can get the proper default assault knowledge base in on this. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I know it did great things and it got Academy Award love and all that. Thanks to, this movie's happening basically thanks to Straight Outta Compton coming out. But that's a completely different genre of film. Yes, but it set the table for Hollywood to start looking for these, dramumentaries or whatever they're calling them now. Yeah, mixed drama and documentary. You see what I did? Shut up, EJ.
Yeah. Anyway, no, I love it. I thought it was great.
But I think that's a good little trend. It's nice that they have something like this, other than a superhero movie, that's starting to take the Hollywood. Hey, listen, if they do an Offspring movie, I'll watch that too. You know, I
don't think they will though, because they weren't big enough. Queen is worldwide phenomenon. You know, even though they actually weren't that popular in the States in the 80s until he died. You know, and his death.
Let's be clear about one thing, dude. Yeah. Let's be clear about one thing. If they come out with a Rolling Stones version of that, you'll make your kids watch it, right? I'm just saying.
Not a big Stones fan though, but I would.
That doesn't mean you wouldn't watch it.
Oh, of course I watch it because out of respect.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's the same reason I'll get around to seeing Straight Outta Compton at some point. I'm not a big rap hip-hop guy, but I'm going to see it.
Yeah. Anyway, Kyle, it was fun. I don't know.
It was.
I don't know if we'll do a report next week because my kid's home next week, and I'm not sure if I'm even doing a podcast at all. We'll figure it out. Maybe we can do a quick 20-minute thing on the road somewhere. Not in the studio. I hear your excuses, but while I'm in New Orleans for a better part of Thanksgiving week, I can tell you that you'll still see stuff coming from me to cover the UCF Knights as they battle their way to game day this weekend, hosting the Cincinnati Bearcats in an effort to clinch the East Division of the American Athletic Conference. That's the American Kirk Herbstreit, not the athletic. It's not like you're being paid a bunch of money to,
Anyway, and then I'll also be, I didn't say nothing, but I'll also be, while in New Orleans, writing to set up the Dolphins Dive, my weekly preview of the Miami Dolphins on the DolphinsWire of USA Today. And, look out for more good stuff. More good stuff coming from Default Assault in the near future. We do a little bit more Hitchcock love coming up there, which, again, I need to rethink how I introduce. You shouldn't use the word love next to a man whose name is Hitchcock. I'm just saying. Anyways, and then, of course, as we get closer to the Christmas season, there'll definitely be some of that going on very soon with Default Assault as well, by way of Demosthenes Euclid, Tokyo Jameson with hilarity.
Speaking of that, real quick, not to interrupt you guys, but is there a plan to do an episode on Bohemian Rhapsody?
There was, but there have been, let's just say, logistical issues surrounding that.
Okay. I was saying, you ever did that one? That'd be the one I want to come on.
I wouldn't rule it out at this point. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Carry on.
So, hey, man, it'd be great. If there's a way we could pull that off, I'll be sure to let you know. I think we have enough set up there so we could actually do a pre-recording if necessary. We'll see what happens with all of that. But, EJ, I'm with you, man. This is a good one today. Maybe we could try to figure out something for next week. I hope we do, because we got to keep building on this momentum for today's show. But, hey, man, until next time, class dismissed.
All right, on the line, of course, it's Wednesday, which means it's time for the picks of the week with the man, Zack The Gambling Degenerate. Zach, hey, what's up?
Not much, man. I'm trying to remember the last time you had a better week of picking games than me.
You're on a roll, dude. I must admit, I'm looking through right now. The last you bested me last week. You bested me the week before that. You bested me. So basically, you bested me the last 4 weeks. I'm looking at the list now because I have it marked down week by week in the totals. Because I had a massive lead ahead of you by week 7, week 8, and ever since then you've chipped away my lead. Now you have now a 4-game lead in our picks. Right now my record is 77, 67, and 4 for the season. Yours is 73, 71, and 4. So you're only 4 games back.
I know. I wish I would never have given you that head start, but it is your show. I felt like you needed it.
Yeah, head start. Yeah, really, head start. Really, come on now. Oh man. Well, I mean, you last week, this week for me, you went 6-1. You went 7-7 actually. So I managed to hold. You gained a game on me this past week. So, I don't know. Strange week though. Strange week.
Yeah. Well.
Let's get to the picks, shall we? Let's get to the picks. Thursday Night Football, of course, tomorrow night. This game has a loser leaves town feel to it, and that is the Packers heading to Seattle tomorrow night, face the Seahawks. This has a loser leaves town feel to it. Like, loser's game is definitely out of the playoff hunt. Like, and it's funny because like both these teams have losing records, but yet this is probably going to be a pretty fairly hype game, considering the quarterbacks, the situation, the circumstances, all that. By the way, the Seahawks are favored by 2.5 points. Zach?
I think it's got an unbelievable game. And, if Green Bay manages to win, I don't know if Seattle's completely out of it just by how everything is situated right now in the NFC. But if Green Bay were to lose, they are all but done. I almost can't even see a path forward for them to win a wild card game.
And I'll be honest with you too. Also, I think if they lose on Thursday, the McCarthy stuff goes over the top. Like you're gonna hear McCarthy calling for his head and all that Friday morning. You know that right off the bat. Yeah,
well, I understand it. Even if they were to make the playoffs, I think there should be a call for that.
Oh, there's a call for it now, but I feel like, as we were saying with the narrative, they leaves town. Packers lose this game. I mean, the way Chicago's playing, the way Minnesota's playing and whatnot. Detroit's still a problem to some degree. They can still steal a win there also too. I think at that point, you have to kind of grin and bear it. If you're the Packers, I mean, at this point, you go from, well, maybe we'll fire him, maybe they'll work it out, to, yeah, I think it's time to end the McCarthy-Rodgers marriage.
Yeah, and I'm on the boat that I think you have to give serious thought, even if you make the playoffs, to getting rid of them.
Yeah.
Just from the standpoint of how the play calling has been this year.
Right.
You finally get a legit running back in Green Bay who is averaging close to 7 yards a carry, and you don't ever want to hand the ball off to him.
Yeah, and by the way, for the record, I'm not knocking McCarthy as a coach. I think he'll get a job pretty quickly if he were to get fired this coming offseason. But that being said, I'm taking the over in this game 49 because I don't know where to go in this one.
I'm going to actually take Green Bay. I like the over in that. It makes sense. Neither one has an unbelievable defense, and Thursday night games, I think defense is outlawed for some reason. But I'd like Green Bay to win this game.
We've had some really good Thursday night games. I mean, other than the Raiders-Niners game, and even that you can say was kind of fun because of the Nick Mullins story. But I mean, we had some really good Thursday night games this year. It pains me to say that because I hate Thursday night football, but at the same time, the product has gotten better actually in the last 2 years, I will say. So, all right, on to Sunday. We have the Panthers heading to Detroit to face the Lions. The Panthers are 4-point favorites. Zach, what you got?
I'll take Carolina. I know they missed the bus to Pittsburgh. I don't even know who was there on that squad for as bad as they looked, but when Detroit traded away Golden Tate, I think they traded away the heart and soul of the team.
Right. That Carolina Steelers game last week on Thursday, again, we were talking about games that were fun to watch. That wasn't really a fun game necessarily. It was competitive for the first, maybe 10 minutes. That said, that's a throw a tape away game. If I'm Ron Rivera, you don't even review the tape. It's just throw it away. Bad night. Throw it away, move forward. I'm taking the under in this game. Because Carolina is still, they're a good team, but there's still a lot of, can you trust them week to week? You know what I mean? That kind of thing going on. And they're on the road to Detroit. Detroit is and I agree, Detroit is sort of like, I guess doing like a tank job to some degree that's not really obvious. But Carolina can be trusted still week to week, and I don't know if there'll still be remnants of that the game last week. I think they should win this game. I still trust the cover 4 points, so I'm taking the under in this game 51.
I'm starting to sense a thread here. You're afraid to pick a team.
No, it's November. You got teams that are starting to become who they are, and Carolina's one of those teams where I can't fully trust them yet. Like, if you ask right now, is Carolina a Super Bowl team? No, they're not. Are they a playoff team? Yes.
The question is, can you trust them to beat an inferior team?
Again, Detroit, when they want to, they do show up for games, dude. They do show up, and that's the thing.
They should have won the game, and I think it's skewing your thought process.
Well, you got two teams that have identities. Two teams that don't have total identities to their franchises yet. Okay. Anyway, next game here, you have the Cowboys heading to Atlanta to face the Falcons. The Falcons are 3-point favorites. It's funny. This game, I'll start first here. This game has a lot of letdown factor to it for the Cowboys. Come off that big win against Philadelphia last Sunday. And Atlanta just getting trounced in Cleveland. I can see Atlanta's being pissed off and just fucking trouncing the Cowboys. So I'm taking Atlanta cover 3 points and then some.
Whoa!
What? You don't like that, huh?
We are not seeing eye to eye at all. This could be a huge week for one of us.
Yeah.
I think Dallas is finally starting to get into a rhythm on offense. I really like Dallas in this game.
I mean, if they get the ball to Ezekiel Elliott all day long, then maybe have a chance. But Dak still doesn't look comfortable there, man. I mean, it's still, he looked okay, but I don't. It's the same Dak from 2 years ago, man.
He'll never look comfortable as long as Jason Garrett's getting to call plays and Scott Linehan's there.
And that's just it. Jason Garrett's still there, so week to week, they're like Carolina, but worse. Week to week, which Cowboys team shows up? Like are they like based on the 3-point spread? They seem a bit overvalued here. Like, this is a pick 'em pretty much.
Yeah, I look at it as you're getting 3 points for being at home in Atlanta.
Of course. And that's it.
I would trust Dallas.
Oh. So you're done the Falcons, huh?
You know, I understand they beat the Redskins, but we just did not have wide receivers or corners to cover those wide receivers.
Okay. Then you lose to Cleveland, too, of course, coming to the Pack. So, yeah. I don't know. So we'll see. This could be a big week for one of us here. This could be either the week that you take over the lead or the week I put the gap again ahead of you. We'll see what happens here. All right. We have the Bengals heading to the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are 4-point favorites. I'm taking Cincy here. I think Baltimore's done.
Do we even know who's going to play quarterback for Baltimore? Is it going to be Lamar Jackson?
My point exactly.
But how lucky are you if you are Lamar Jackson to go against this team who, for 3 straight weeks, has given up 500-plus yards and is on pace to set a record for most yards given up?
Mm.
That's the kind of defense you want to walk into and play against.
Well, I will say this, though. Again, much like Carolina last week against Pittsburgh, last week Cincinnati against New Orleans, that's a throwaway tape game. That wasn't us. Move forward. I think a lot of times teams get embarrassed. They come back better the next week. So there's a lot of that, too. So give me Cincy +4 on this one. Will they win? I don't know. But this is definitely a field goal game.
I'll take Baltimore, whoever's at quarterback, to cover this one.
RG3?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but when you're on pace to set a record for worst defense, I don't think it matters. And Baltimore is one of those teams that just does not give up in the middle of the season.
Wow, we are really not seeing eye to eye here this week. So every game so far, through 4 games, we've gone opposite. So these are the 4 games that could flip this entire thing. Who knows? Because the only 4 games back in the standings with me. All right, next game here we have. This is actually a Sunday night game. So the Vikings heading to Chicago to face the Bears. Huge game. NFC North implications on the line. The Bears are 2.5-point favorites, which tells me Vegas likes the Vikings here. That's what it tells me. I'm taking the over in this game, 45.5. Because I'm not sure if the Bears are a bit overvalued or the Vikings are a little undervalued here.
Man, I'm going with picking the Vikings for the sole purpose of jinxing Kirk Cousins. I don't see. I think both those teams have can have a great defense that shows up, especially in a division rivalry. Oh man, this is a primetime game. You just said it's a Sunday night game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Kirk Cousins can't win in those games. Screw that. Give me Chicago now to cover.
Well, I want the over, so we'll see. I stay away. You know, it's funny. I kind of stay for the same reason too. Kirk Cousins Monday on Sunday Night Football. I don't know. I will say there's a large sample now to suggest that he does come smaller than me in those situations. So you could be right there.
If this was Sunday at 1:00, I think Minnesota wins. But now that it's setting in that it's going to be Sunday night,
yeah,
I'll take Chicago.
Right. Okay. This is a sneaky good game here. I shouldn't say sneaky, but 2 teams going the opposite directions. The Eagles heading to New Orleans to face the Saints. The Saints are 8.5-point favorites, number 1 on the Earnestly Media power rankings as well. Meanwhile, the Eagles, I announced it on my Unfiltered podcast on Monday that they are now officially out of my Super Bowl tier. That being said, I think the Eagles show up here. I think they make this game close and could possibly win this game. So I'm going to take the Eagles plus 8.5. They're better than the record, man. Now, whether or not they're a Super Bowl team, I don't think they're a Super Bowl team, but you got Carson Wentz. You got some talent there. Look, I think after losing last week, I think they'll show up and make this a competitive game. So I give me the Eagles plus 8.5 here.
Yeah, 8.5 is just too much.
Yeah.
I understand New Orleans is just rolling right now, but Philly is not that bad a team.
Based on the spread, Zach, they're vastly undervalued right now this week. Vastly undervalued. Like 8.5 solid. Like if you told me 6.5, I can roll you on that one. And even that seems a little bit high. But 8.5, dude. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the New Orleans Saints just came off a fucking massacre in Cincinnati. But you got to figure, come back to the middle a little bit. You know what I mean? Maybe 6 was probably the spread. Yeah, 6 would have been. I think if you told me, if you actually guessed the line before I actually saw it, I would have said 6 points max. That's a lot of points for this game. So give me the Eagles plus 8.5. Are you there too?
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm the same way. 8.5 all day long.
It's gonna be a good game though, but it does feel like though. I mean, I don't know, because the NFC East is so weird. If they lose this game, then maybe the Eagles are done. But then again,
I know is from your predictions, you're predicting Dallas is going to get rolled, Eagles are going to lose, Redskins will have at least a 2-game cushion still, if not a 3-game cushion.
But don't forget though, they still got 2 games against Philadelphia coming up, so that will decide. I mean, if the Eagles win both games against Washington going forward, that flips the entire division again. So.
That's only if they stay within 2 games.
Well, that's also you trusting the Redskins to run away with it first before you get to those 2 games. Again, I don't necessarily trust that. So, I don't know. Okay. So we both got New Orleans, Philadelphia plus 8.5. Okay. Next game here we have. This is actually a good game here. This has a lot of wild card implications here too. The 6th seed in the AFC. Titans headed to Indianapolis to face the Colts. The Colts are 2-point favorites. Titans getting a lot of love here after the New England win last week. Yeah, you know what? I'm going Indy because every time Tennessee does something big, the very next week they flip and do the opposite. So therefore, give me Indy, Andrew Luck.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I would predict a letdown. You have so much overconfidence that you don't pay attention during the week to your film studies, to the practice, and you end up losing.
I'm going to say it right now. If Indy gets in the playoffs, I think you have to consider Frank Reich for Coach of the Year.
Indy is not making the playoffs.
Well, right now, dude, they're only, a game back of the 6th seed? And I think Tennessee has it right now, currently? If I'm not mistaken? They're not far off, dude. They're not far off from the 6th seed.
And if we're both wrong about Indy this week, it's a wrap.
Oh yeah. I said last week that Indy will have to go 6-2 to have a shot to make the playoffs, and they're one of my intriguing teams because in the AFC you have obviously the locks: Houston, New England, the Chargers, the Chiefs, and the Steelers, right? And then below that, you have the Bengals, which you're saying is falling apart defensively. You have, for the 6th seed, you have the teams between the 6th seed in the AFC is between the Bengals, who are falling apart, you said, the Dolphins, you can't trust, the Ravens that you can't trust, and then you have, of course, Indy and Tennessee, who are right a game behind both those teams. So this game is huge. This game is huge because I think the safe bet. If you were asking me right now in the vacuum, who's a 6th seed in this AFC race? Honestly, I'm picking out these 2 teams here.
You know what? You're making me change my pick. All of this talk, I'm going to take Tennessee now.
Oh boy!
I am going to make the greatest comeback in a single week that you could make on the leaderboard.
Okay.
I'm going to take Tennessee. I'm going to go against you. I'm going to take Tennessee. They're going to lock up the 6th seed, and Mike Vrabel is going to prove why he should be the Coach of the Year.
Well, we'll see what happens. This is actually one of the games I'm looking forward to watching the most this weekend. Okay, next game here. Your game, of course. The Houston Texans heading to Washington to face the Redskins. The Texans are 3-point favorites. Again, the Skins getting no respect from Vegas, man. Again, it always happens.
This one totally makes sense, though. You look at the wide receivers that Houston has versus the corners that the Redskins have. They should be able to put up 40 no problem against us. This game should look like the Atlanta game where their wide receivers just blow by our corners.
But they never score, though. They always, they average, 22 points a game, maybe? Texans?
The Redskins only average like that. They only average scoring one more point a game than they do giving up.
Which is why I'm taking the under in this game at 42.5.
Yeah, I'll take Houston.
Oh, my God, really?
Yeah, I just told you. We do not have corners that can keep up with those wide receivers.
Yeah, but you've become cocky Redskin fan the last, 5 weeks. I was hoping that continued.
That's because I'm talking to a Giants fan.
Well, look.
It's
Hey, we won a game this weekend. Shut up.
Yeah,
we won a game
thank God for no pass interference at the end.
Anyway, besides the under, you got Houston. Okay, next game here. Speaking of the Giants, they are at home finally playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Giants again are the favorites at 1.5 points. And again, despite the 2-7 record, I'm going to take the Giants one more time. The cover.
Oh my gosh, you're really going out on a limb against Tampa Bay. Do you need a life raft there? I mean,
Zach, it is the Giants, though. Come on now.
It's also Tampa Bay.
It's the Giants, though, too.
They had 500 yards of offense against the Redskins, scored 3 points. Well, I will take the Giants. And you know what? I bet you they cover a spread of 7.
There's the old take the Giants. I miss that. I miss those days, man. You know, the Giants
at home.
Hey, if the Giants win this game,
they're the better team. They are the more talented team.
Hey, if the Giants win this game, we got a winning streak going. Ooh.
Man, I told you your season was going to be decided by 2 halves. You'd be lucky to start 1-6 or 0-7 probably, and then it'd be almost a complete reverse.
Okay, well, we're on the same side here. Okay, next game here, we have the Denver Broncos heading to L.A. to face the Chargers. The Chargers are only 7-point favorites, and I get why. It's a divisional game, and I respect that. In fact, I'll go ahead and go on a limb here, and I'm going to take the Chargers take the Broncos on the points here, +7. Not down week. A little let down week. Chargers have been running good last couple weeks, on the spread. You got come back to earth a little bit. They'll still win this game, I think, though. But
I don't know if we have a single pick besides the Giants right now.
We're on the same side on the Eagles game, too.
Yeah. I'm going to take the over in the game.
46.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
I worry that Denver might score a late touchdown or something to keep the Chargers from covering the spread.
Yep.
But I could see this being like a 30-24 game.
Yep, me too.
At the end.
I think also, too, remember about 2 weeks ago with the Broncos-Chiefs game, and I think the Chiefs were 10-point favorites, and the Broncos ended up covering that? Yeah, so that's my fear. Denver has some spunk on them. Look, they're not a good team. Vance Joseph will get fired. That's going to happen. But I do think that the Broncos do have some fight in them. These are rivals. These are rivals also too. So
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the Broncos on the point too. You like the over, right? You said.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Probably the worst game of the year to watch. The Raiders heading to Arizona to face the Cardinals. The Cardinals are 4.5-point favorites. You know my rules now. John Gruden's the coach. Any spread that's out there, take the Raiders to get smashed. Take the opposite team. So I'm taking the Cardinals to cover 4.5 points. That's easy. This is easy. I'm surprised it's that low, to be honest with you.
I'll take the Cardinals because they have the heart. Of the two teams showing up, Cardinals have the heart, and I think Josh Rosen wants to prove he is a legit NFL quarterback.
Yep. I think it's the time of year, because Arizona's so bad now, because they're not really in the race in the playoffs, and teams are not going to watch them. But if you're smart, this is the time to watch these quarterbacks, see if there's an upswing that happens at the end of the year going into next season. I'm going to be intrigued to watch Josh Rosen this weekend too. Thank God it's a 4:00 slate, so it'll be easy to do that because Red Zone doesn't have a lot of games at 4:00. So. I like
I'm not 100% sure how much airtime they will get on.
But there's only 3 games to choose from. I mean, you got the Eagles, the Saints, you have Chargers, the Broncos, and then this game. That's it. So there's not a lot to choose from.
You still have to be driving. You know, you can't just be staying at your own 30 and punting the ball all the time.
That's true. Yeah, you got a point there. But I think Arizona wins this game pretty easily. Okay, this is one of the 1 o'clock games here too that got moved. The Steelers heading to Jacksonville to face the Jaguars. Again, 2 teams that met in the playoffs last year. 2 teams right now, as we speak, going the opposite direction. We all know now LeVeon Bell is out for the year. He did not sign his franchise tag. He's going to be a free agent next year, whatever. The Jaguars, meanwhile, are falling apart. They're 3-6. You know what's funny though? I still like Jacksonville plus 5.5. I still do. I think this game will be very competitive. It's in Jacksonville.
No.
It's in Jacksonville. The Steelers always had... Look, the Steelers historically, especially recent history, they do this thing where when you start believing in them a little bit, they play down the competition. I think they'll win this game ultimately. But this game will be a lot closer than the spreads. I mean, it's not even a wide spread, but I see this game coming down to a field goal, honestly.
If this was 1 week later, I would agree with you. But the fact this is happening on the week where Le'Veon Bell didn't show up, I see there being just a little bit of motivation left for that offensive line and James Conner at running back to prove they're still okay. And so that's why I like Pittsburgh.
All right, so you like Pittsburgh minus 5.5, huh?
Yep.
All right. Finally, Monday Night Football, probably game of the year. And this game was moved from Mexico City back to L.A., so L.A. will be the home team. The Rams at home hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. The Rams right now are 3.5-point favorites. I'm a little shocked that they got the half point. Rams minus 3 would not bother me, but a half point kind of sort of says a lot to me. Maybe the Rams or maybe the Chiefs are a little overvalued this week. I don't know. Maybe a letdown factor coming in. They did struggle against Arizona this past week. The Rams, barely squeaked by Seattle, losing to New Orleans last week before that. They've kind of sort of come to earth a little bit the last couple of weeks. I don't know, man. And by the way, that over-under, what did you say was the biggest since, 1986?
Yeah.
63.5 points. Give me the under in this game.
Oh, come on. This is the easiest game we have all week. You take the over, and you don't even think about it. You've just overanalyzed, looking too much into the spread. Of course it's going to move up a half a point because now it's in L.A. versus Mexico.
Yeah, but they don't have any home field advantage, though, in L.A. Come on, now. There's
Oh,
not a lot of Rams fans in L.A. Come on, you know that.
They're starting to get there, man. As they win, they build up a little bit of a fan base.
Front-running fucking city. Sorry. Other than the Lakers. Laker fans are absolved from this part. Because Laker fans are...
Why do you think the Heat had fans for 4 years? Because they were winning.
I'm not acknowledging the Heat had bandwagon fans all the time. I'm saying LA's the same thing. The front-running city.
Yeah.
Outside of Lakers.
Starting.
Give me the under, buddy. Give me the under. You got the over this game?
I got the over.
Okay. This should be fun. This could be the week. This could be the week where either I start to get back on track and put a bigger lead in you again, like I had in week 5, week 6, or this is the week where Zachary, you come back and you are back in the lead, in the lead.
Absolutely. I'm either gonna have the lead or I'm gonna be so far back that I might as well just start throwing darts at the board.
By the way, bye weeks this week. We got a lot of them. Bills, Browns, Dolphins, Patriots, Jets, and 49ers this week. Of those 6 teams, which team needs to buy most?
Probably the Patriots just after their embarrassing loss.
Yeah, me too. I was right there with you. And not only that, Gronk hurts.
Yes.
You know, and by the way, I think this could be his last year. I think he retires.
I'm right there with you. I mean, I know he wants to probably keep playing as long as Tom Brady does, but I think he's starting to realize, hey, it might be time to just hang it up and enjoy the rest of my life.
He has his money. He's good with his money. I've heard reports that he's not spent a lot of money that he's made in the NFL. So yeah,
Definitely is endorsed.
yeah. So he's been done very well. And the issues he has is his back. Once you start hearing back issues, and this is now 2 years running with back issues, you're not. First off, Gronk's not gonna get any better. He's still really good. He's still. I guess I wouldn't call him the best tight end in the league anymore because number one, you gotta be available to be that number one. But he's still a top 3 tight end in the league. But at the same time, it's back issues. Yeah, that's a problem. Once you start having back issues, you're definitely closer to retirement than you are to anywhere else.
I would be willing to bet by the time he's 40, he will be walking like an 80-year-old. Between the shots he's taken to his knees while playing and his bad back, that dude is going to be in a world of hurt as he ages.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see this week. This is the week. Before you go, should I say? College slate this week. Not a lot of huge. I feel like this week in college football is kind of like the calm before the storm. As you know, Thanksgiving weekend is always one of the biggest weekends of the season. I don't really see too much big matchups here, if at all. Honestly, this week, a lot of these games are the setups for the big weekend the weekend after. For example, Ohio State and Michigan and all that. And look, even though Auburn stinks this year, Iron Bowl is still fun to watch. Auburn, Alabama, all that. Any good bets this weekend you got for college?
I would say one of the best that looks the easiest to get right now is probably Notre Dame against Syracuse.
Oh, that's the only game. That's the one game I think everybody's looking forward to is that game. That's the one game everybody has their eyeballs on because that could be the situation too. Like there are still a few chaos scenarios that could play out. Actually, heading into that final week, for deciding the 4 teams going to the playoff. Notre Dame loses Syracuse hypothetically, then wins out, of course. And Michigan wins out. And Bama wins out, and Clemson wins out. Hold on. There's a scenario where Notre Dame could still get in even with the one loss because
Michigan,
yeah.
If Michigan were to win out, that means Ohio State will have 2 losses.
Right.
If Alabama wins out, that means Georgia's got 2 losses.
Right. But let's say hypothetically Georgia wins the SEC title. Okay, Bama wins out to the title game, and they lose. They have 1 loss. Notre Dame wins out. Notre Dame loses Syracuse, then wins out. So now you have Georgia in the title game. You can't take out Georgia now because Georgia won the SEC title and beat Alabama, number 1. They're in. They'll lock in. Clemson's going to win out. They're going to get in. That's 2 spots right there locked in. Okay? Then you have to decide between Michigan, who did their job and ran the table, beat Ohio State. You have between that, Alabama, who has 1 loss, lost to Georgia, hypothetically, of course. Notre Dame, who beat Michigan, so that they have that argument. And really, I think really that's it. So let's say that plays out. Who are the 2 teams you pick out of there? I still say Bama and Notre Dame would be more deserving because Bama is still one of the 4 best teams in the country. No one can dispute that. And Notre Dame does have the head-to-head over Michigan, and I think head-to-head should mean something. So,
yeah, because there's no way you could envision Georgia blowing out Alabama.
No.
And I really don't believe, even if, say, somehow Notre Dame lost to Syracuse, what are they going to lose? They would lose by like 3 late or something, you know? It's tough to envision them just being beat down.
If Michigan did not lose to Notre Dame, though, they would pick Michigan to get in because of the schedule.
Oh yeah,
but because of the head-to-head that they face each other, I don't give a shit when. And look, I hate Notre Dame. You know that. Michigan's my number 2 team, so I'm not even trying to knock Michigan here. But it was proven on the field. There was a result, and Notre Dame beat Michigan week 1 of the season. You can't.
Now, real quick, you can't use that argument that the one team beat the other because you don't believe in that.
Who's that?
There's a team. Yeah.
No. Because the power rankings stop that. No. There's a lot more wiggle room in the NFL power rankings than in the college playoff. We're sequestered to 4 teams only. That has to come in play.
So when it gets to like 7, 8 teams, then it's okay to overlook who won the head-to-head.
Well, 7, 8 teams, it'd be a lot easier. You'll have your 5 major conference winners, and you have your 3 at larges.
Listen, so far, there's been no reason to even have a 14 playoff since they started. The 2 best teams have played every time for the title game.
Right. They got it wrong. The only time they got it wrong was the year, I want to say, Ohio State got in over Penn State. In my opinion.
I don't got it wrong. Ohio State was the better team.
But Penn State not only won the conference, also beat Ohio State head-to-head.
It doesn't matter. Sometimes you know who the better team is.
Again, Penn State beat Ohio State and won the conference. So what? We're ignoring ahead. So what? We're ignoring head-to-head and conference championships now. Like, what standards are we using here? That's why. And that look, I love it. We have the playoff. It's great. But this is also why I hate when people knock the BCS. The BCS almost always got it right because the BCS does not know who the fuck Nick Saban is. Who doesn't know who the fuck Dabo Swinney is. They go by the record. There's an algorithm in the system, and that's it. There's no biasness. Oh, well, Nick Saban, he's just so dominant. We have to get him in there. The computers don't care. So I don't know. We need 8 teams, buddy. We need 8 teams. Because I would love to see I would actually love to see Oklahoma play Alabama.
We do not need 8 teams. We don't even need 4 teams. We only need the 2 teams.
Well, if it's just 2 teams, it's Clemson and Alabama right now. That's easy.
Yeah, well, for the last 3 years, that's all it's been.
Warriors, Cavs. Celtics, Lakers. That's where we're at now in college football. Those are the 2 best teams by far. But I will say this, though.
I don't know. Celtics are not cohesive.
No, I'm not saying in general. I'm saying like the rivalry. The every year they play in the finals, that kind of thing. That's what I mean. I know you interpreted it as what I meant in terms of current. No, I didn't mean current. The only reason I want to see 8 teams now because I would love to see Oklahoma face Alabama. That's the only reason.
There's a chance they could move in. If Notre Dame were to lose and Alabama won out, I would think there's a slight chance that Oklahoma could slide into the 4th place.
Yeah, because let's say Bama wins out, they're in. Clemson wins out, they're in. That's 2 spots. Let's say Notre Dame loses. They're now on a bubble. Michigan loses, they're done. Michigan wins, they on the bubble now with Notre Dame, and likely they'll get in because they'll probably win the conference. So that's 3 spots there. There's 1 spot left between Oklahoma and Notre Dame. Who do you put? Who do you get in there? Oklahoma and Notre Dame.
Well, that's where it gets tough. You might put in Oklahoma at the very end. But I think there is some bias, and Notre Dame would go back in.
Well, let's look at it from a logical perspective. Who had the tougher schedule this year, in your opinion? I would say Notre Dame, maybe a smidge.
Really?
Well, I mean, has Oklahoma played anybody to the level of Syracuse this year? Let's start there.
Texas, Oklahoma State, West Virginia.
And they lost to Texas, yes.
By 3.
Okay.
Michigan is playing.
They lost the game, though. They lost the game.
Okay, and so did Michigan.
And here's
so if you're going to talk about Notre Dame, if they lose to Syracuse, their big win is against Michigan.
Who'll be in the playoff? Who'll be in?
The service academies?
No, but the big win is Michigan, who would, under this scenario, would be one of the 3 teams in already, based on what we're talking about. That gives them more of an edge, too.
So after the Michigan win, who is their biggest victory over?
Let's go over that schedule real quick. Hold on. I don't know. Let's go to that schedule real quick because that is interesting, actually. I'm not trying to defend Notre Dame. I hate Notre Dame. I hope they lose the next 5 games. Even though I know they only play 2 or 3 left, but it doesn't matter. I hate them. Notre Dame. They play Syracuse this weekend, obviously, and they play USC.
USC is way down this year.
Oh, USC sucks. I mean, Clay Helton is done. I mean, going through their entire schedule. Okay, they beat. Okay, so they beat Michigan. Obviously, it's a big win. So they play Ball State, which they barely beat. They barely beat Vanderbilt. They beat Wake Forest. They beat Stanford. At the time, Stanford was good. Virginia Tech was good.
But Stanford wasn't good. People just were thinking they were good.
No. Well, again, it's all relative. I'm just saying. They beat Tech, who was good at the time, who was still ranked at the time. They beat Pittsburgh, barely.
Tech lost to Old Dominion.
I know. Navy.
Okay, they were not good.
Okay. No. I'm just comparing between them and Oklahoma. Let's go to Oklahoma schedule now. Oklahoma Sooners. Let's go real quick. We'll do this live on the podcast. Oklahoma. What the hell? Hold on a second. Oklahoma football schedule. Let's see it real quick. Well, Oklahoma does have West Virginia on the schedule. Well, you know what's funny? They may win there alone. FAU was ranked when they beat them at the time. They beat UCLA, who stunk early in the year. Iowa State is actually a good win now going forward. Beat Baylor, lost to Texas, of course. Beat TCU, who's fought the face of Europe since that game. Beat Kansas State, beat Texas Tech, barely beat Oklahoma.
Tech, decent team.
Yeah, barely beat Oklahoma State. So, what may save them is the West Virginia game next week. But again, okay. Look, I'll give you this. You're right on that comparison thing, but the edge that Notre Dame might have is that win against Michigan. That's the edge they may have on that in that conversation.
Well, at that point, will it really count? Because now you're looking at first week of the season versus the end of the year. So end of the year when West Virginia knows what they're doing. Versus Michigan, first week of the season with a brand new transfer quarterback. Because once you do that, you're looking, okay, Oklahoma State versus Syracuse. Who do you think wins in a heads up?
Oklahoma and Syracuse?
Yeah.
I get Oklahoma.
All right. But I should have said, I was trying to say Oklahoma State versus Syracuse.
Oh, Syracuse will win that.
Or Texas. You think Syracuse can beat either of those two schools? I don't.
They'll be. I think they can beat Oklahoma State. Texas, maybe not. Texas is pretty good though, man. I watched them a lot this year. They're pretty good.
Yeah, I've watched them too. I'm bad on them.
Yeah, that's our own team. Remember, week 2.
Yeah.
They're pretty good. They're not a bad team. I'm not saying they're like this power conference team, but they're pretty good. They're not bad. They come up on TV. I watch. Whoa, they're impressive. I can't lie about that.
Yeah.
They're better than Miami. I'll tell you that. So, I don't know. You know, it's funny. It has been chalk with the playoff, but I will say this though: there is some legitimate chaos situation that could arise starting this weekend. That's why I hope Syracuse beats the shit out of Notre Dame. Get them out of the fucking picture.
I don't know. I think this is setting up for another easy year. Who makes it in and who doesn't?
Well, the team that could get screwed, the team that could get screwed is still Michigan. If things do become like, if you're Michigan, you want Alabama to win out. That you want Alabama to take care of business. You know.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Because Alabama got LSU, because LSU could have been a distraction. They're out of the conversation now. You know, Georgia's hanging around. If they win, all of a sudden they have a legitimate chance to get in. If they win, they're going to get in probably by winning the conference. So by beating Georgia, they're out of the conversation. They have 2 losses. You know, so you get all these little knick-knack teams out of the way. You know, so Alabama takes care of their business, they'll be okay. Clemson's going to be a shoo-in because of ACC, and you know, the schedule was pretty much cake most of the year. They'll still get in. But by the way, they did beat Syracuse too this year, so it's for the record. So maybe Clemson's schedule wasn't so bad after all. Everyone somehow Clemson's schedule was cake this year, and maybe so. But Syracuse right now is a tough team. They did beat Boston College, who's been ranked most of the year. And they beat some other ranked teams. So, I mean, maybe Clemson is a little bit undervalued. And now we're seeing the way they've been playing the last couple of weeks. Maybe they were undervalued up to like late October. I don't know. I'm going to miss college football, Zach. That's why I'm trying to get it out of the open now. I'm going to miss college football when it's over. It's almost over.
I can't wait for the season to be over.
Why?
Honest to God.
Oh, because it's Florida State, yeah.
Yeah.
Are we going to make a bowl game? Fuck no. Later.
Hey, we finished with a winning record, man.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Zach. We'll see you next week.
All right, later.
All right, good time, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. I still want to hear your thoughts on that whole Butler trade.
Oh, okay. It's okay, I guess.
I really think he's gonna burn that team to the ground.
I hope so. We'll see what happens. I hate Philadelphia. You know that. So.
If you had a problem with Towns and Wiggins, you really aren't gonna have a problem with Embiid trolling and on Instagram all day long.
I'm already questioning the Embiid Simmons marriage, much less the Butler part. So there we go.
Not to mention Markel Fultz there. I mean, for a guy who hates playing with young kids, he makes no sense on that squad.
No. And we'll see how it plays out. I think Butler does the Butler debut like tonight or tomorrow?
I think tonight.
All right. Well, I'll be watching that. All right, Zach.
Later,
buddy.